everybody, it's Rebecca. I have a very special video to show you today. I was down visiting my mom and my sister for her wedding dress shopping this last weekend, and I got the time to sit down with both of them to discuss their planner systems. They actually both started bullet journaling because I was doing it. I kind of got them into it. I'll explain all of that in the video, but I wanted, before we get to that, to just sort of apologize for the video quality. Unfortunately, I had the settings all wrong, and so it's going to be really choppy, and also you might hear a lot of kind of thumps because the microphone we were recording with was sitting on the table and kind of getting all of those vibrations kind of loud. So the content is still really good, so I wanted to make sure to show it to you. Please just try to ignore the choppiness of the video. And you know, if you want to just listen, that works too. It's not that bad, but I thought you might notice and wonder what was wrong. It was all my fault. I'm still learning how to do all this camera filming stuff, so I will be getting better. So let's check it out. Hey guys, I am here for a very special video. I have here my mom, hello, and my sister, hi, who I'm here visiting them, and I've gotten both of them into bullet journaling, so I thought that I would kind of interview them about the different processes that they use and kind of give you all some more interesting, I guess, varied viewpoints on the whole system. So I guess I'll pull open my questions, but how did you guys get started bullet journaling?
Well, you started first.
I started first, yes. I think it was started after our conversation. You came down to visit one weekend and was showing me what you were doing in your bullet journal, and my interest was piqued. So I went and bought a little journal to start, not this one, but one to start with, just to kind of play around with it and see if it was something that would work for me. Yeah.
I started about 3 weeks ago. Rebecca actually sent me my journal in order for me to use it to start wedding planning. Got engaged about a month or 2 ago.
Me too, yeah.
Yeah, and my wedding is next year. So.
In April.
So it's kind of...
You're in a Leuchtturm.
Yes.
The Leuchtturm 1917 that everybody uses. And then you're in...
I don't even know what it is.
Essentials brand.
An Essentials brand.
You got that for her.
Yeah, I got it off Amazon.
Yeah, I got it for Christmas for me, and I started using it probably in February this past year. Yeah.
So what was your history before bullet journaling with like planners and planning? And did you use apps? Did you use paper?
Apps. Years ago, I used scraps of paper, a little piece of paper. There was a system that was around when I first got married. That was called Day Runner, I think it was called. And it was a big thing that had little inserts that you could put into it.
Was it in like the rings?
Yeah, I think some of them had rings. The one I had pockets that you slid them into. And it had a calendar. And mostly what it was for me was trying to keep things. It had a calendar, so I used that. But then it had a little address thing and a little notepad things that you could use.
Different like modules?
Yeah, sort of that, but they weren't something you could modify for yourself.
Right.
Which was always, I'd find that I wouldn't use sections of it, and it would be a waste of money to have it. So, yeah, so I try to keep organized with scraps of paper.
But you've always pretty much been a paper planner.
Yeah, writing notes down.
You're not really all about the Google calendars.
No. Well, I use one at work. I use Outlook at work. But even then, I write things down in here as well.
Right.
So.
What about you?
You know what?
A school planner.
Yeah, when I was in school, I would use the school planner for things. But since then, I've mostly just kind of separate lists. Like at work, I'll have my list of things to do, and usually I'll just write a list of things to do, and then it starts to get messy as I'm adding more things and crossing things off and trying to do it all on that, and then it either gets lost or because it's not all kept in one place. Yeah. I haven't consistently used apps either, so yeah, I've kind of been plannerless for quite a while.
Yeah. Yeah, when I was planning my own wedding a year ago, I had not heard of bullet journals yet, but I was using like a flip notebook or like a legal pad, like a little 5x8, and basically doing a lot of the same things that I learned later are part of the bullet journal system, just without an index. And I still wish that I had heard about the bullet journal beforehand, because then I wouldn't have thrown out all the pages as I finished using them, and I would still have all that information.
As a reference.
Yeah, that's really what it is that like I get rid of paper when I don't need it. I love having it all archived, you know.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So why did you choose the bullet journal? What works for you about the system? Why do you like it?
I like having everything in one place, you know, because I have lists of projects, sewing projects, knitting projects, and then I have lists for house projects, things that need to get done. Our kitchens needs to be remodeled, and so I have it all in one place. I don't have to start digging through a stack of things on my desk to find those things. So it's all in here together. So that's that's what intrigued me about it, and that's what makes me like it.
Yeah,
I guess.
It's like you never have to think, oh, where is a scrap of paper for me to write that down? Because
That's
you have
true.
the next page is the designated one.
Right, that's true. Yeah.
Is it working for the wedding planning?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it's good because I can bring it with me anywhere. So anytime, like, you know, some thought comes up, or, you know, me and my fiance discuss something that's like, oh, here's a good idea, and I can just kind of write it down in here and know I have it, instead of, again, writing it down on a sticky note or something, and sticking it in my purse and losing it. So
And keeping all that stuff together for the wedding is like a big deal.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah,
it is huge. Good for you guys.
So what kind of like modules of the system do you use? Do you use a list monthly or a grid monthly? Do you use weekly spreads?
Well, you've only
daily
been doing it
spreads?
for a short time.
yeah, I've only been doing it for a short time, so I've just been using the list for the monthly, since I don't really, I mean, mostly when I open my bullet journal, I'm going to go to the current week, you know, and I might flip back to the month, but for the most part, I'm planning it weekly, and then, you know, I have some stuff that's in there monthly, if I'm looking at it on a monthly schedule, but I just have the one list page for the month, and then I've got my weeks, which I've switched up a little bit the format I'm doing the weeks, but it's mostly just like, you know, spread with 4 days and then 3 days. So, and I mean, it might change again because I've only been doing it for like a month. So,
For me, I found when I was using, before I had this one, I had just a regular notebook, and I was doing it, you know, 1 month and then weekly pages and then 1 month. But for me, with my job, I realized I need my calendars available to flip through, because I'm a nurse and I do monthly visits at patient homes. And so sometimes I need to look, what did I do in June, so that I know what I did in July, and what do I need to do in September. So I reserve those monthly layouts, those pages for them in the front of my after the future logs. And so they're all together. I haven't done them all because I like to wait and be a little creative later, but I have to at least have 3 working months at a time so that I can see when I need to do a visit. So that has worked for me, having them all in the front.
It's nice to have them together, because in a normal planner you wouldn't have that usually.
Yeah.
you would have a separate calendar that would just be the months.
Right.
Like that.
Right, or you'd have like your month, and then you'd have to flip through your weeks to get to the next month.
And what I found with using some of those is that I wouldn't use those weeks at all. I would really refer to the month. So that's the thing I like about the whole system, is that you tailor it to what you need and what works for you. So I don't usually do a daily, a whole page for a daily. I do a weekly and then write down the things I need to do. I do the monthly layout with the tasks and things like that. And I love the future log because that can really set up, what you're going for the whole year. I really like to have that available.
For like long-term goal planning kind of things?
Right. And things that are coming up that I don't want to forget. Like if find out that there's an event at church that I want to go to, I'll put it in the future log so that when I work on that week or that I have it there and available.
So you flip back to the future log every week? Or
no, maybe once a month. But that's how I use it. A weekly,
right?
Without
that was the question, wasn't
it? Yes, it was.
Yes,
you can cut that out.
No. So, do you decorate?
Yeah, I do. I like washi tape. It's my easy way to make it look pretty and fun, and I'm not real good at handwriting or drawing pictures, and I don't have a lot of stickers. I have a few butterfly stickers, but the washi tape makes me happy to use different colors.
Yeah.
It just kind of brightens up what I'm looking at.
Yeah, I like your color.
Design. Yeah. It's just and of course the different color pens to make it fun too. So it's not boring. Yeah. Anyway.
I've so far I've been very utilitarian with it.
It's a good way to start.
Yeah. I just use like my one black pen to do most everything, and then maybe for the weekly things use a different color or something. I've used a couple pieces of washi tape in there, one to cover up the mistake where I did an entire month with the wrong days of the week all the way down.
That's what it's for.
Yeah. So for the most part, pretty utilitarian, and still kind of figuring it out.
So are there any spreads or collections that you're particularly proud of?
I guess. I'm a big Notre Dame football fan, and so I made a little spread with the games for this year. It starts in a couple weeks, so I put down who they're playing where, what the time the games are at on Pacific time, so I don't miss it.
Right.
And that way I can look at it and plan my weekend around when the game is. So
it looks really good with the
that's the blue and gold, and I kind of put some gold highlight underneath there. So so that's just my most recent one that I'm proud of.
That's awesome.
Look forward to writing on.
Well, are there any accomplishments that you've gotten done because you had your bullet journal to remind you?
I think for me, going back to the future log thing, I think that's super important with the wedding planning, because there's a lot that it's like, a certain months in advance of the wedding, we want to, find a new apartment, hire a photographer. Like, I've got it all in there kind of, when I want it to be done. So,
That's a good idea.
I think that's a good reminder of, this stuff has to be done by a certain time.
Right. And at least you have it written down somewhere. You're like, I forgot that, we have to work on this, floral thing or whatever. Like, instead of, therefore I need to get it done this week. It's like I have a place and it's there and I'm not going to forget it.
Yeah, if it was just in one of my weekly things, I might forget it. Of course, you can always move things from your weeklies back. So that's what's nice too. It's like if I don't get it done, I can just move it to the next week.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Are there any things that you find challenging about the system, or is it ever difficult?
Well, you have to sit down and do it every week.
That is true. You have to be committed to doing that.
It's not there for you. You do have to make it yourself.
Right.
But that's just it's being trying to be organized. And no, I think for me, and it came clear to me this weekend because I'm trying to maybe make a switch to trying to use these travel notebooks. Thank you. And I explained to Rebecca that for me, it's the terminology. There's some terms that I don't exactly understand or know what to use because I didn't realize there's a difference between an insert and a dashboard. And so sometimes when I'm listening to some of the things, I'll throw out a term and they'll say, you use this and this is that. And I'm like, what are they talking about? So that's something I have to overcome.
Do you watch a lot of YouTube channels and things?
I not only a few people. Yes, the original guy. Who is that?
Ryder Carroll.
Okay, I watched his. Right.
It's always good to go back to that one.
Right.
Over and over.
So I did watch that before I even started the first time, and I think I took notes even not in this one, but in the other one about how to use it. And then I've watched, of course, yours that you had. So, but not too much beyond. I mean, I don't have a lot of time to be sitting around and YouTubing. Sorry about that. Anyway, so.
Yeah. Do you find inspiration anywhere, Instagram or, for spreads? Do you, whenever I'm looking for a new spread, I'm always Googling, how do other people do, a weekly chore tracker or whatever. And of course, that turns into a rabbit hole.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, I haven't done any of that
No.
yet. I'm
No.
also like, okay, here, I'll make a list of things.
If it's working for you, don't mess with it.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, that's true. I think, yeah. And I think every so often if you visit with other people who are doing it,
Right.
and you can be open to some of their ideas,
Yeah.
that's been helpful with
That's-
our conversations.
Yeah, it's a really awesome thing. Like, get your family and friends into bullet journaling, and then you can all be each other's inspiration.
Inspiration, right.
Well, I mean, yeah, I did when I was first starting. I'm like, I don't want to have to watch all the videos. And so I was just like, wait, Mom, how are you doing it? Okay, show me.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah. And we're getting a family friend into it. She had her husband make her a traveler's notebook,
Yeah.
and it was awesome.
Right. Yeah. And
Yeah.
that was all just by conversation.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, it was fun.
We're all apologists.
Yep.
So, what do you want to try next? Are there any things that you want to try in your system that you haven't yet?
I think there's some things I want to track that I'm not tracking right now. Like I probably want to track my cycle, like
Oh, that's true.
things like that in there. In addition to like, because I've to using different apps for things, I could track even my weight in here.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
that.
That's
Yeah.
true.
It's good for diet stuff.
That's true. Yeah, and I will try to move to this to see if it works for me. I want to finish, of course, what I'm working on now, but
Right. That's
I-
the hardest thing once you've decided what you're going to do next, to not just skip ahead.
I could see how it could be helpful for me to have like all my calendars all in one thing,
Yeah.
and then you could pull it out if you needed to, because I have weekly meetings that I go to, and I have to pull them out and show where I'm going, and yeah. So I think that might be fun to try. Although I do like this, so we'll see.
You could always get an A5 one and then include this in there.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's a lot bigger.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see.
Yeah.
It's always evolving, right?
Yeah. So is there anything that you don't put in your bullet journal? Like that you specifically leave out?
Yeah, my weekly shopping list and my meal planning for the week. I usually don't do that. I do it all on a separate piece of paper. I do write down the meals that I've decided so that they're in here. If I'm at work, I can flip and say, oh yeah, it's where I'm making this for dinner, so I remember. But no, my shopping list is totally separate from that. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically, like if it's something that you're only going to use for one day.
Yeah, it's
Or
for
2
a whole
days.
week, I guess. Well, no, the
you
shopping.
do the shopping and then
Yes, you're right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
With a list of what you're eating,
You can always store sticky notes inside your journal.
Yeah, which I hadn't done before. I mean, I have some in the front of mine, but that was with the intent of writing them inside. So, right.
I got these list sticky notes from mochi things, but the thing is they don't stick very well.
Oh,
So it's
yeah.
kind of a pain.
Okay.
But I thought that would be great for shopping lists. but
Sure.
Not so
Well,
much.
because sometimes you remember at work or something, oh, I got to pick
Right.
this up. Or, yeah, that can happen, but I don't put that in there.
Nothing specifically. I mean, there's a lot of stuff I guess I don't, but maybe just haven't thought of.
Haven't thought to include yet.
Yeah. I haven't figured out yet how to really track like the wedding budget stuff, like the anticipated expenses, the actual expenditures, and all of that.
Right. I mean, there's some things that are just easier to do digitally as well.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of times the financial stuff can get really messy if you're doing it with a pen and confusing instead of just having a spreadsheet.
It's true.
Yeah. Because I've
that's
got
true, 'cause
the
it
budgeting
changes.
software that's really easy and
Right.
That's
know how to
true.
use it.
Yeah, that's true. I don't do that.
Right, yeah.
I don't do the
Yeah, you
budget
use
stuff.
YNAB.
Yeah,
I
I
use
use
YNAB.
YNAB. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah,
But you were saying that you can write down a reminder to sync your YNAB or to spend an evening doing your budget, which is important to do. I've done
Yeah,
that too.
and I mean that's something I could stick in my day-to-day stuff, like I spent this much in cash on gas since I buy my my gas with cash. So if I don't put it into my app right away or whatever,
then you'll
then
lose
it's
it because it's
losing.
not in Mint. Or,
True,
Yeah.
that's true. Right.
I always, when I reconcile my cash, I'm always like a few bucks off, and I'm like, I don't remember where I spent it.
Yeah, you just
Yeah.
put oops.
But you were saying how if you go on a trip,
Right.
you could like
or if
give
you're
yourself a budget and
on a vacation where you're like, I'm going to spend $50 on souvenirs. You know,
That's true.
I kept my cash expenses in my bullet journal when I was at Comic-Con.
Oh,
Because I
okay.
wanted to make sure I knew how much cash I had, because I was going to have to enter it in YNAB later and didn't want to have to pull out the app and do that all the time.
Mm-hmm.
It was
Oh,
just-
you know what I need to put in here?
yeah.
Oh, Rebecca, $50.
Oh.
I'll pay it to you before you leave at the end of the weekend.
Oh, good idea.
See,
Before I
There
check
you
it
go.
out.
good plans.
That is true, though. We were talking about that when you're driving. That
Yeah.
a lot of things come to your mind. The other day we were talking, and she said, I got to put that in my journal. But you didn't do it right away.
Yeah.
And so then when we stopped,
I didn't remember
we
anymore.
and I didn't remember either. I wasn't helpful.
Just this morning we were at Mass and I was thinking in my head, like I always get distracted in Mass thinking, oh, I should write that down later. And then I got to the car and I pulled it out. I'm like, I know I have something to write down. Maybe if I open it up, I'll remember.
No. Yeah, and you didn't even say anything to anybody, so we couldn't help you.
No, yeah. But I was going to teach you how to use Google reminders. Say, okay, Google, remind me to
Remind
add
me.
this to my bullet
That is
journal.
a good idea,
Yeah.
because I find that when I'm driving, I do have a lot of things that come to mind that I need to do.
Yeah.
It's true. You can't write it down.
Nope.
Not when you're driving.
Now when you're driving. All right,
Yeah.
is there anything that we didn't cover that you were interested in discussing?
Oh, you were talking about supplies that you like to use. Is that something you wanted to bring up?
Oh,
No.
sure. Yeah. Do you have any favorite supplies?
Well, my washi tape.
Your
Yeah.
washi
My washi tape. But no, I'm excited to use these new
Oh, yeah.
markers, these highlighters.
We found the friction stuff at
Yeah,
Michael's. I
at
didn't
Michael's.
realize.
These were on a clearance too, probably because they're
Yeah.
more springy colors.
I don't know. Yeah, they're the pastel ones.
Yeah, pastel. But I
I
noticed.
own that yellow one.
Do you?
Not the others.
So I thought that would be fun to try to use. I'm excited. Then you can use these two if you'd like.
Mm-hmm.
And then
You got the
yeah,
blue,
I got a
black.
red, blue, and black, a friction pin,
You like
which I'll
this
try. Well, yeah, so far I see what usually in my monthly calendars I write my visits down with pencil because they change, you know. And so if I have this, it'll be a lot nicer. I think it'll be so.
I just say it looks nicer.
It
or
looks
something.
nicer. Yeah, the pencil kind of smudges, and yeah. So,
I've been using a roller ball pen, which I like the way it feels when you write, but it
I
is
know.
since it's a wet ink pen, it does smudge if I.
And this is a really fountain pen friendly paper, which basically means that it's not very porous and it takes a long time to dry.
Okay.
Okay.
It is nice that it doesn't like sink through the pages.
Right, exactly.
But
That's why
there's some smudging. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Then you have to look at it,
Yeah.
but I'm not that worried about it.
Yeah. That's why probably it's difficult for Beth. Or my other sister's left-handed.
Oh, that's true. That's
And
right.
so,
yeah.
you know, if she has to deal with, if she's using like a
ink.
Leuchtturm, she's going to have
Yeah.
to have a pen that dries really fast.
Yeah, she doesn't like gel pens because of that too.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm excited about this to use these things.
Yeah.
We'll see.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me and for agreeing to do this.
You're welcome.
It's our
Yeah.
debut on the internet.
Yes.
Yay! No, you've been helpful in having us use this, and I'm excited to
Yeah.
keep using it.
Yeah. See how that, maybe we'll do this again in another year and
Yeah,
see where
see
we
where we are.
evolve to. Yeah.
If we've thrown it away, or if we still use it. No.
Yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching. I will have another bullet journal video next Thursday and another like lifestyle, whatever, I don't know, video probably going up on Saturday. So we will see you then. Thanks. Subscribe if you want to make sure you catch those, and I'll see you later. Bye. Bye.